get into a little more detail about what you talked about a second ago. Talk about the risks of pharmaceutical and surgical transition, and also how young are some of these transitions beginning, Anita?
Yeah, it's very young. Puberty in girls can start as young as 8, in boys as young as 9. And that's when they will give these kids puberty blockers. And there is something called precocious puberty, which these are meant to stop. So if a child starts puberty at, say, 5 years old, they'll give them a puberty blocker just long enough so that they don't have puberty much earlier than it's natural to have it.
Right.
If you have If you put a little girl on a puberty blocker at age 8 because she says she thinks she's a boy, well, first of all, puberty is around the time when childhood gender confusion, which actually is a real thing and isn't, it can start in toddlerhood where kids just get confused. And they usually, they'll grow up to be gay later. But puberty is the time when they figure it out and they say, oh, no, I really am the sex I am. And, they just go on and they grow up to be normally gay kids. If you're on a puberty blocker, your brain develops during puberty. So the ability to make decisions, to understand how to execute certain functions, this all happens during puberty. And if you don't go through puberty, then your brain doesn't develop. We don't really understand exactly how much we are causing damage when we put on, but we do know that some kids in a couple of studies have been shown to lose about 10 IQ points. So that's just cognitive. Then we have skeletal. So there have been some children who have actually gone through osteoporosis, which is something that
Hmm.
people get at 65
Yeah. Yeah.
because the skeleton isn't developing. Then, of course, you won't grow to your full height. And because you're not developing all these different ways that you would during puberty, you don't develop the understanding of being a boy or girl because you haven't made that leap. So you're more likely to go on to cross sex hormones. And once you're on cross sex hormones, in addition to everything else that can happen on cross sex hormones, you're sterile because the testes and the ovaries never develop.
And you're saying some of this starts as early as 8 or 9 years old in some children?
Yes.
Now, I mean, isn't that against the law?
Shouldn't it be?